I need an engine stand for my outboard motor. If I'm going to work on this motor, I need something that is sturdy, secure, and gives me easy access to the front of the motor. Welcome to my Fixit shop. Behind you, you'll see some of the materials that I've gathered up to build this stand. What I'm going to use is an old pallet and scrap lumber, and I hope to build a sturdy, reliable, very useful engine stand for my outboard motor. I have a Mercury hanging on the back of that boat, as you can see right over here, on the back of that boat, that has been giving me a lot of trouble, and I want to build a sturdy stand to help me in my process of working on that engine and others. So follow to the end and I will show you step by step how I'm going to do this. Anyway, I think I know how I'm going to do it. I've got a plan in mind. To build this engine stand, I'm going to use this pallet, 2x4s, a 2x10. I have a power saw, chalk line, tape measure, my hammer, a cordless drill. The first step that I'm going to do is measure the sides of this pallet, and it should measure 48 inches. It does. So what I need to do is take this 2x4 and I cut it 48 inches, but I'm going to subtract 3.5 inches off of the 48. 1, 2, 3.5, 44.5. And I will share with you in a moment why I'm doing that. Take the square and we'll go ahead and put a mark here. We'll get the saw. Oh, show you how I'm going to cut that. I put a line on here and now I'm going to cut it. When using a power saw, always let your shorter piece fall away from you. Don't cut it from this side. It'll kick on you every time. Okay, I'm going to cut another one like that. That was 44 inches, 44.5 inches. We need 2 of those and we need 1 for each side. So there's 44.5. Bring this back up here. I'll mark it, the square. By the way, this is rough carpentry. You don't have to treat this like you're building a piano case. You're just building an engine stand. Okay, that gives us a nice solid board to put on the side of this. The side of this pallet. I'm going to hold them down a little bit. And I did pick me up some screws. I'm going to put a screw in right here. I should have 2.5 inch screws, but I don't. So this is going to have to do. And the reason 2.5 would have been better is they wouldn't stick out underneath here. Anytime you leave a screw stick out like that, you've got a potential finger grabber. Let's get this up here. Perfect. Perfect. Okay, we'll flip this over and put one on the other side. Before we do that though, since we got it here, I need the height of my motor, and I'll show you what I'm doing here. The reason I left this cut a little bit short is I'm going to screw a 2x perpendicular or at a right angle to this so that I have something to attach my cross member to that the motor will hang on to. And I've taken the measurement of that, and from the floor I need 35 inches. So let me get this cut. Okay, I have these two pieces cut. I'm going to put one screw in it. And that will allow me to move this right here. That'll allow me to move this one way or the other to make sure it's perpendicular to this, or square. Right now it doesn't look square. Yep, like I thought. It's off quite a bit, so let's bump that like that. Bring this back in. Now you see how far that's off? Now we can just bump that right back to where it's square. And that's right where we want it. So we're going to put another screw right in here so that doesn't move on us. And we're going to offset it just a little bit so that we don't split the 2x4 or the wood underneath. So I'm going to move it over here just a little bit. We'll double check it. That's not bad at all. So the next step that I want to do is take a 2x4 and I'm going to put it on the outside, and we're going to put a brace on this to keep it. We'll go up there like that, and we'll come down here, and I'll tell you what, I'm going to go the same amount each way and just cut those at 45-degree angles. Then I've got something I can, because what I'm saying is if I come up here 2 feet or 28 inches, let's go 2 feet. Let's use 2 feet. 2 feet that way, and 2 feet this way, 24 inches, and that would be the long point of our board. We'll come back this way, long point of our board, and we'll come back this way. So theoretically, I should be able to take this square and hold it up here and go ahead and cut this right there on that 45-degree angle. So now what I'm going to do is measure from that mark to, let's go this, 34 inches. We'll make that 34 long point to long point. So what that means is, for those of you, see I have a long point on this board here, and so I'm going to hook the tape right there and measure 34 inches, make a mark, and get my square, put it on there like that, pencil on that mark, and Go ahead and mark it. Let me cut this. Okay, I have this board cut. Let's see if it's anywhere close to being where it needs to be. Ho, ho, ho. Look at that. Those cuts look good. We're going to put a screw in right here first. Let's get that screw started so we don't have to worry about that. Ah, man, I make things hard when I don't set it up correctly. Let's go ahead and put it right there. Okay, that looks good. We'll put this right here on this mark and see if we can't get it screwed. That looks good. Now let's do the same up here. Get that, whoops, I said whoops. There it is. In the day, stuff like this I would have thrown together in just a couple of minutes. It takes me longer these days, but that's all right. Let's check it with the square. That's off just a hair, but I'll tell you what, guys, that's not bad. Okay, I'm going to set this down. And I'm going to lift this side up. And we're going to repeat the process. Okay, here's the first board I cut. We're going to screw it right here. Have my piece cut 34 inches like the other one. I have my marks. I'm going to get my screw started. I think I'll just start it on both of them. And I haven't put a square to this, and I haven't done that purposely because I want you to see how close I am by following the rule of thumb that I've been always taught. And let's get this one fastened. Okay, according to that, that should go out just about right there. Put that in. Let's get the 2-foot square and see just how far off I am. It's not going to be perfect, but I bet it's not bad. Oh my goodness. That's perfect. It's better than the other side. We're going to leave it there. I should move it just a little because I wouldn't want to ruin my reputation in having stuff perfect. By the way, I got my new hammer out. I showed you on a video clip about this $230 hammer, how I tested it. And I'll tell you what, I liked it so well, I just went ahead and bought it. That's made in the USA. Can't ask for a better hammer. I'm sure you could, but that one really works good. I like it. Let's put in some more screws. How do I want to do this? Not like that, not like that. Let's not put in any more screws. From the calculations that I made, the top of this board that I'm going to put across here should have measured 35 inches. And it's pretty close. That's pretty close. This one's pretty close. 35. This is actually a little long because I didn't hold it all the way down. And that one's because I didn't hold it all the way up. I can fix that. So, but what I didn't calculate is the thickness of this pallet right here, because I plan to put a plywood sheet on here so I guess what I need is a measurement here. Let's see what it measures down here. It can't change. If it measures 43 there, you need it to measure 43 here. It's off just a little bit, so these can adjust some. But what we'll do is cut our piece that come right flush out there from here to here. Should be 43 inches. That's within an eighth. It's within an eighth, guys. So we're good there. I got everything cut and put in place. I've got this cross piece cut sitting behind me. And I also went at it and just replaced these uprights. They were 3.5 inches short. And that's one of the benefits of screwing things together. It comes apart real easy. It only took me a few minutes, and now I don't have to worry about it. So let's get that other piece here. And the idea, and I'm going to, is this is going to fasten right there, and hopefully my motor will hang on that the way it's supposed to. We're going to test it. Now let's get a screw started right here. Actually, let's start it up here a little further. And we'll get one right here as well. And I'm sure you observant people see this notch. I'm using scrap lumber, and sometimes you got to do and deal with stuff that you have to deal with. Got this screw started, and I'm holding this even at the top. In construction terms, that would be flush. But all that means is even. Flush on the side. There we go. That one's hung. Let's go back over here now. See what we have over here. And yep, everything's a little whopper jawed here. That's Pennsylvania Dutch for crooked. Hey, a little off there, a little off there. Perfect. We'll put this bottom one in, and then we can move the top and get that straightened out. Okay, let's see what we can do here. Let's actually move it somewhere else so we don't find the same hole. That looks good. Okay, how solid are we? Well, I'll tell you what, that's not bad already. Get a couple of more screws. I told you previously that I haven't really been putting as many screws in yet because I like to get stuff close. This doesn't really need the fourth screw up here, but I'm going to give it up a little bit too much. Let's go right here. Well, I dropped that one. I'm testing out a new screw too. I've never used these before. They're a lot cheaper. And Midwest Fasteners puts them out. They didn't furnish them, I bought them. So let's get this side over here. I'll probably put 4 in here too. The whole idea of this is safety. I want to be able to hang a 100-pound motor off of this so that I can work on it. I want to get to the front, and it's coming along real good. That piece of plywood you see behind me is going to be the floor for this. I'm going to have to cut it and get it on, but little change of plans. What I did is I went ahead and cut me 3 little pieces of plywood and one's OSB. But what I'm going to use these for is I'm just going to put a gusset. They call them gussets. I'm going to attach it to this piece of wood and this piece of wood here, and that will hold that, well, as long as I've ever wanted to see it. They use the same concept when you're building trusses. So I'm going to put this gusset on here. I'm just using some 1 5/8" screws that I had here in the shop. These screws, well, they're really hard, and you got to be careful with them because they will break if there's a lot of movement. So you just got to watch them. Put 3 there, and we'll put 3 over here. Maybe 4. One thing I noticed in today's world, in construction, when I was doing it, we had a specific number of nails we would put into something. And to put any more in than what I was taught to do is a waste of labor and product. But with these nailers that everybody's using these days, they just go bam, 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 and nail the heck out of it. I'll tell you what. They sure weren't taught the way I was. Why would you nail it? I mean, I guess it's just so easy. Gussets you typically do fasten a little more than others. So what I'm going to do here is bring this all the way up to, as you know what, I could cut this in 2 and just strap gusset. That's all it needs. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go set my table saw up, and I'm going to rip this. And once I get that done, here's the 3.5-inch strips. I needed 2, I have 2. The saw I use this to cut this is a table saw I've set up over there. It's one of them $100 take to the job site table saws, and they are, in my professional opinion and my age, I've determined that the table saw on a job site is probably, if not the most dangerous tool that you can use. I've seen so many people over the years cut fingers off. I still have all mine. I hope to continue to have them, but it happens so quickly. You just have to really be careful with that table saw. 2 more cuts. It's a little over the top, but I'm going to cut the tops of these off at 45 degrees so I can get the full benefit out of it. To do that, again, I'll take my bevel square, speed square. It's not a bevel square, it's a speed square. I know the difference. Just that a lot of times I say things come out of my mouth, and I really don't mean what I'm saying, but I know what I'm saying. In other words, sometimes I say things like storm door instead of screen door and that sort of thing. That's just part of who I am, I guess, at this age. But let me get these cut and I'll be right back. I have them cut. Now come in here and I'll show you what I'm doing. Want to put this. I thought I wanted to put it like this right here. I do. It's right. Had me going there too. So right there, perfect. I can couple screws here, couple of screws right. Well, you can't see that. Couple of screws here and a couple of screws there, and then that piece is gusseted together. It's very difficult for that to come apart. So let me get a couple screws in. That looks good. Let's go down here. And that looks good. Okay, we'll finish screwing this up. Got 3 screws holding those, and that's way enough. Now you see how I'm doing the gussets, so I'm going to get these gussets done and then I'll bring it back in. I want to show you what I have done so far. Now, you probably are getting the drift of where I'm going with on this. Anyway, I would hope so. Let's just keep going. Well, I finished this thing up and I want to show it to you. Right there it is. I have the motor hanging on it and I'm filling the tank up with water. Bring it around so you can see it. I think it'll work fine. The reason I needed to do this is so that I can get to the engine to do what I need to do right here, instead of reaching over that hull of that boat. It was just a real struggle. So I would appreciate your comments on telling me how you would have done this project. Greatly appreciate it. If you like it, hit the like button. Absolutely give me a comment because I want to hear from you. But for this, I think we're going to call this done. And I think I'm going to say it's successful. This is really, I'll tell you what I might have to do yet as I'm shaking is maybe put an X brace right here to keep this from moving sideways. It moves just a little bit, but for right now, this will work. I needed safety, and I have it. So please comment, like, and subscribe. Can this be fixed? Absolutely, it can be fixed. Can you fix it? You're darn right you can fix it. Until the next one.